The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 9th day of March, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by One Communications and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. Well, shut him down. Sherry's supposed to be here, but let's just say all that fun she was making of me and the internet the other day, she's got some issues, folks. So we'll see if shut him down Sherry is shut out or that we'll see if she'll be let back in. Tamara McHale is going to be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Before we get into it, I just want to give a huge shout out to my dear friend, sister, Bermuda's Power Girl, Patrina O'Connor, man. Hey, big props to Power Girl being named Woman of the Year. You know, I say this humbly and respectfully. I think Patrina that you see out there all bubbly, happy, and fun was so vulnerable with me back in October, on Jamal Hartman Unscripted. And if you really want to get a chance to know who Patrina is beyond what you may see, I encourage you to go and check that out. Patrina O'Connor. She is one of the strongest people in the public eye on a daily basis. So, I'm not one who, works for awards or champions awards, but if there's, I don't know if there's a more deserving person for any award than Patrina Power Girl O'Connor. So I just want to take this time to say congratulations to Patrina on being named Woman of the Year. And I'm telling you, she does not need any award to validate the power and the strength of the woman that she is. So congratulations to her. And, folks, if you see her, show her love, because she is one of those people who I cannot say enough positive words about Patrina O'Connor. Agree. Congrats, as Karen Simmons says, congrats to Patrina, and nothing but love from Sam Cat Place as well. So greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Ajai Peets on to discuss her latest opinion piece about the state of politics in Bermuda. The Daily Play is a name that place. So if shut them down, Sherry, shut out for the day. This is between you and I, audience, you and I. Make sure you subscribe to our website. Follow us on social media to stay up to date for all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to improve our community. Yes, help us do our part. Bernadette Talker says, congrats, Patrina and family. Ebony Souza says, yes, well-deserved and earned congrats. Folks, as I just mentioned, we have Ajai Peets coming on a bit later to discuss her latest opinion piece. It was in the Royal Gazette last year, titled Unfamous. And I think it was one of the most incredible articles written recently by anyone. I don't want to look at her as a young person. At this point, she is a Bermudian with a voice. I don't want to categorize her. I think that it's important that we stop categorizing people when we share the same concerns about our country. But before we get into that, there's something else that has concerned people as of late. And basically what happened was the government, this is from the Royal Gazette, government tears down house linked to Mary Prince. And I'm just going to read a bit from the article. It says, A historic building with ties to national hero Mary Prince has been demolished. Watlington House, which stands on what is now the Ocean View Golf Course, was spared from demolition in 2021 after the history of the building was highlighted. However, the structure has been completely torn down this week. Charlotte Andrews, head of cultural heritage for the Bermuda National Trust, said the demolition came as a complete shock. Something that the government is responsible for that came as a complete shock. That sounds like the Information Commissioner, Gitanjali Gutierrez, saying that it came as a complete shock that the patty fees were in the budget speech, no consultation, right? Whether consultations needed or not, it's a respect thing, right? Anyway, this article goes on to say, quote, in 2021, the Bermuda National Trust, along with a number of other groups, objected to the proposed demolition of the house due to the site's historical link with national hero Mary Prince, end quote, Dr. Andrews said. In August 2021, it was announced that the Ocean View Golf Course had revised its plan and would site the new warehouse elsewhere, saving the house. It seems there was a change of heart about saving the house, and the significant house has been torn down. So with that said, I guess the question is, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be a bit honest here. Who yes or no, audience, did you know anything about Bermuda's national hero Mary Prince before the last 5 years? Let's get through that first. Did you know anything about her? Did you know anything about her? Did you know anything about Mary Prince before the last 5 years? Anything? Yes or no? Aaron Smith says yes. Ebony Souza says yes. Sam Capley says yes. Rosalind Famous, yes. Jamaica Smith, yes. Tanya Cheeseman, yes. Bernadette Tucker, yes. Karen Simmons, yes. Hadleen Stevenson Swan, nope. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, nope. I'm going to be frank with you, no. I did not know anything. I didn't grow up in Bermuda's public education system being taught this stuff. I knew nothing about Mary Prince until probably the last 8 years. I knew nothing. I knew about Sally Bassett because of the statue that Dr. the Honorable Ewart Brown fought to get that put down cabinet, right? And the reason I asked the question, did anyone know about Mary Prince, Bermuda's national hero Mary Prince, is we tend to be called complainers and people making noise and we didn't even know. Let me just say this. Whether we found out about Mary Prince yesterday, last week, or last month, that's neither here or there. That's neither here or there. The fact is, we know now. So the question of the morning, Aaron Smith actually, she says, read the book for English class at Bermuda College. That's great. Bermuda College representing as usual. So the question of the morning is going to be very straightforward. What are your thoughts on the historic building tied to national hero Mary Prince being torn down? It's the Watlington House. What are your thoughts on that? The way it's been done and the fact it's no longer there. And before we go, you answer, let me just read. The government had a response, and I'm not sure I have that. Oh, here it is. A spokesman for the ministry did not provide a reason for the demolition, but said the ministry received confirmation that the building in question was not listed nor protected by a historic protection area. Therefore, under the Planning Act, permission is not required for demolition. Interesting. What are your thoughts, though, folks? What are your thoughts on the historic building tied to national hero Mary Prince being torn down? I was going to go first, but I'll wait on you. I'll wait on you. What are your thoughts on that? Let's go to, well, you know what? I'm going to go first. My thoughts is this is yet another example of the government doing what the government does based on that response by the ministry. This seems like an exact, it seems like the kind of behavior that we're used to. It really seems like the kind of behavior that we're so used to. Let's bring Shut 'em Down Sherry in. Let's see if Shut 'em Down, because you know what I said before, right? I said, Shut 'em Down Sherry is getting shut out today. But don't tell her I said that. Don't tell her I said that. Let's bring in Shut 'em Down. Um, good, good morning, Shut 'em Down. How you doing? You're on mute, Shut 'em Down. How you doing, girl?
It's been a lot this morning. Absolutely a lot.
Spending all night out
Jamal,
at those casinos, huh?
that too, Jamal. You're gonna have to do better with this hotel because the internet and everything is just not getting my way today.
Oh,
So I'm actually, yeah.
okay. Shut 'em
But
down,
anyway,
folks. Shut 'em down. It's not shut out.
but I'm here. So, and to answer your question, Jamal, what are our thoughts about it? What I have done is disappointing to say the least.
Mhm,
Can we start there?
mm,
Our history continues to be demolished as we just sit and watch it happen, right?
mhm,
Um, my thoughts are real simple. Should not have been done.
mhm,
And what are we going to be left with in regards to our Black history? I think I have more questions than thoughts.
mhm,
Why weren't we made aware? Why wasn't there a town hall meeting? Because we love a little town hall meeting.
mhm.
Um, where were the
Yeah.
views from the community? When was this decision being made? And my favorite word for 2021, 2022, and 2023, the transparency of it all.
Well,
It was demolished.
well, as the ministry spokesperson said, they didn't need permission. I mean, that response says it all. That response says it all. But I think a lot of the comments and the feedback that people have been given so far, I take it. I don't think it's for me, Sherry, in particular, and folks, we're going to get to the to you all because again, it's really about your opinions and perspectives. But to me, I just think it's yet another example of how this government operates. Like the
Yeah.
fact that the minister's response, they're not. It doesn't even seem like they're considering the people's feelings in saying that, where is it? I just had it up to a spokesperson for the ministry. Well, you get what I'm saying. Said that they didn't need permission. Right here it is.
Yeah.
A spokesperson for the ministry did not provide a reason for the demolition, but said the ministry received confirmation that the building in question was not listed nor protected. So the fact that they're using that, despite how people feel, right? They were just
But
go. So go ahead, Sherry, really quickly.
but I was going to say they knew it was a problem in 2021. So just let us wait for 2 years and then maybe we wouldn't notice.
Well, I think that's how the government has shown us they operate. Like, okay, we'll not do something. Just think, last week, Maya had a Instagram live conversation with the Minister of Education, the Honorable Diallo Rabane, and I put the question out there asking, right, what's the latest with at West End? Has a final decision been made? He said a final decision was made, back when, and on some paper. Well, he didn't tell me what that final decision was. He wants me to go look for it. That's problem number one. Problem number two is, so what was the consultation and acting like you were listening to the people for, right? So it almost seems like the way the government operates is, okay, we're not going to do it. People have concerns. But in-house, in caucus, whatever, look, they'll forget about it. They'll just do it. They'll complain, and then they'll get over it.
Right.
So let's go to the audience, folks. What are your thoughts on the historic building, Watlington House, that has been tied to national hero Mary Prince being torn down? Got a lot here for you. So Ebony Souza says, I've seen buildings preserved or restored with less history attached. Interesting. Yeah. Rosalind Famous says, it's a loss to our heritage. This is the question right here. Bernadette Tucker says, what if this happened under the OBA government? Look, I say this way too often on this show, that had this been done under an OBA government, any government outside the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party, I guarantee you there would have been parades and marches. Any government, the troops would have gathered. Union Square, Parliament Street, they would have gathered. And they would have claimed that this is impacting their children. and their ability to learn about true Bermuda history. They would have went on about 400 years. I mean, I think an MP just recently mentioned that. 400 years. Stop using that 400 years in Black history to take advantage of Black people.
The first thing I thought was like, as Jamal would say, where's the parade?
Yeah,
I was like, why didn't we know any of this? And from the article, the Bermuda National Trust didn't have anything, they weren't aware of it either.
correct.
Am I correct? Okay.
Oh yeah, that's the first part I read. They had, man, this just stinks. It stinks.
Yeah.
Sonia Clark says, my thoughts are the facts. My thoughts are the facts. Tanya Cheeseman says, respect. It's a link back to history. Even some type of ceremony would have been nice if they had to diminish it. I just think if you were actually going to do it, just be honest and be direct with the people. I think the people just want an honest government. They want, we're speaking to young Ajay Peets after, and she wrote one of the most direct and what I feel should be an impactful opinion piece in the Royal Gazette last week. I absolutely love her. I champion her because what she's doing takes courage. Too many times during my journey, people were like, oh no, that's going to ruin a job opportunity or this or that. I have so much respect, Miss Toll, Miss Peets, the young ladies and the young people who are standing up and speaking boldly. Folks, I wrote a letter last night to myself. Yes, to myself. Sometimes you have to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And in that letter I wrote to myself, I will share every detail in the coming weeks or months. But that letter was written and it covered a bunch of things. And it's something about people who remain compliant. It's something about people who say and do nothing. It's something about people who continue to get rewarded for doing nothing to change the fortunes of the majority. I'm sorry, I take that back. For doing everything they can to maintain the status quo so that things don't improve for the majority. We have a problem with tokens. And the government and people could not do things like this without the help of compliant people. We need more courageous people among us. We need more people who are willing to fight and stand up for things. And sometimes the catalyst for change are the people that you're taught and conditioned to not like. They're the people you're taught to hate, the Mark Beans of the world. Don't sit around thinking that Malcolm X and Dr. King, just because you love to quote them today, were loved by all Black people. Couldn't be further from the truth.
Mm.
The amount of Black people that would tell them, oh, why don't you just stop shouting so loud and just go along with it? We'll get what the majority of Black Bermudians, that's how I see you. You're compliant. A government cannot do what they like in a democratic society without compliance from people. We shout terms like dictatorship, but do we really care if it is? I'm looking for a courageous group of people in Bermuda who are willing to really fight for what they believe in. Why are we so afraid to lose the job? Mark Bean said some years ago, the banks earn us. Freedom? What's the difference between that 30-year mortgage where a bank earns you and paying rent for 30 years? Well, you have a house to pass on. Really? You think so? You folks need to start asking for data and stop being sold on the conditioning of being owned by others for your entire lives. The government is going to continue to do things like this, knock down historic buildings after telling you they won't, because they think that the electorate has a short memory. Oh, they'll forget about it. Oh, we'll act like we're listening. We'll have a meeting and then go and do what they want to do. Why? Because this was said to me by a member of parliament when the One Bermuda Alliance was government. OBAMP. The problem with what he said was, no, you're right about the people of Bermuda, the electorate, but you're the OBA. They ain't going to take that from you. But they said, oh, people will make noise, but then they'll forget.
Wow.
They'll get over it. That's how the government sees you all. That's how they see you. Let's get back to the audience. Question.
Lots of questions.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the historic building tied to national hero Mary Prince, being torn down? What are your thoughts? Manuela John says, when the connection was realized, there should have been a serious effort to place that house on the historic building list. B. Denise Hollis says, what next? It will be the unfinished church. And again, you're probably right. And people will make noise, don't touch it. And then what happens? You forget about it. They distract you, right? A holiday will come, right? The rum gets off, gets sold off the shelves, the wine and the beer, and we get drunk and we're partying with our elected officials, right? And then once we sober up, everything's already done. This is like clockwork, folks. It's like clockwork. B. Denise Hollis, he says, this was part of Rashida Godwin's tour. Well, it's interesting because I was going to text her yesterday. I said, you know what? She'll be tuned in. And I'm interested to hear what Rashida thinks of this. And
she was one of the first people I thought of, to be honest. I was like, oh gosh, what is Rashida gonna say or do in regards to this? And it's again taking pieces from us from then to now.
So that we can get Ajay on, because I think this would be a great tie-in. Traveling Charlie says, with the building no longer standing, it needs to be marked with a significant plaque. I think that's a joke. I saw someone on Twitter be like, oh, guess we're just going to put a plaque there now. That's a joke. Because at that point, you're basically saying, okay, government, just do as you please, but just put a plaque there or put something to honor it. No. I think that's a cop-out. I appreciate what you're saying, still honor the space, but I think that sets a bad precedence. That sets a bad precedence because you're almost, it has. Yeah, I agree, Sherry. Yeah, it's not a bad precedence because what you're basically telling the government, it's almost like what the Minister of Education, the Honorable Diallo Raban said. Okay, we'll just rename some as a primary West End. Like that is almost playing people for stupid. No. That's a cop-out for the government. Sam Cat Play says, they keep proving that they will do what they want and not care about the people, constantly bamboozle us. That's because the people allow it. Jamaica Smith says, after the public outcry, the building should have been listed as historic. That would have been the proactive and honorable thing for the government to have done, not wait 2 years and then say it's not historically listed. Oh, well, that's how the government operates. Sean Smith says, my question is why none of these organizations that is responsible for our history have the building listed as a historical site? Maybe because they trusted the government. Problem number one. Why was it knocked down? I believe because they felt it was hazardous. It was not in good shape. It wasn't capped up. Aaron Smith says the fact that it was done secretly speaks volumes, but not surprised this administration does anything. Teray Tulsit says disappointing, but unsurprising from a government who is closing West End School. They don't care about Black history and masquerade as people who make hard decisions. That's it right there. They act like these are hard decisions. No, they're arrogant and cocky decisions. Charmaine Richardson says, what I find interesting is the National Trust usually fights for historical sites. Why was this building not listed? Those are some questions we can ask, and maybe we can get Maya tomorrow on it. Traveling Charlie says a fundraiser could have been held to keep the building up. They have fundraisers for things that they care about when they have their minds made up. I agree many things could have been happening, Traveling Charlie, but that's your government. That is a joke, Teray Tull says. She says it's disgusting. Traveling Charlie says, Jamal, the building is going without notice to people, so we have to find a way to mark the location. No, I get that. But what I'm simply saying is this precedent has been set. It's basically, if they do that, it's almost an excuse going forward that, okay, we'll just do that. That's what they do. This is like clockwork. This is like clockwork.
It's what continues to happen.
Let me be very clear in saying this. I'm going to be very vulnerable right now. We have a race problem in Bermuda. We have a Black problem in Bermuda. And as long as I'm lucky to have this platform, I will do my best to highlight what that problem is. The worst part about the problem in Bermuda when it comes to race is that it's not just white people. It's Black people who use race not to help Black people or the vulnerable, but to help themselves. We, as the people of Bermuda, need to cut through that. We need to fix that. And it starts with holding them accountable. There's no way we should be allowing, someone said, was it Kim Swan crying in the house about 400 years and Jason Hayward? These people don't care. Because just 7 years ago, they were crying because one of them was about to be sued by the OBA. And they were in a position that probably couldn't afford a Perry Ellis suit to wear to work if they had a full-time job. Let's bring Tamara McHale in for the news break because we have a very interesting conversation coming up with Ajay Peets regarding her opinion piece about yet another elected official, Thomas Christopher Famous.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, madame. How are you today?
I am doing fabulous. Very interesting discussion I'm hearing from you guys.
Yeah, we have some
Very
issues.
interesting.
We have some issues in Bermuda's political scene. You know, we get Black people who, I guess, want to act like they're part of the struggle. And I think Teray Toll says it. The bougie masquerading as revolutionaries. That's exactly what we have at this point. We have them using the struggle, the Black struggle, to really be elite. They want to have what white people have. I thought the goal was not to have the Black lab dog and the pool and nice house. I thought the goal was to actually change things for the majority of the people, and that is to fight to give people equal, equitable opportunities that are going to help them succeed in whatever they choose to do. That's going to contribute to a better community and society. Unfortunately, Tamara, we just don't have that, and the way the government has been operating in Bermuda is pretty much we'll listen, we'll hear you. But then we're just going to do what we said we were going to do because we didn't think that what you provided as feedback was good enough. And that's unfortunate. But hey, crazier things have happened. What you got for us today, my friend?
All right. Good morning again, everyone. This is the Daily Hour news break for today, Thursday, March 9, brought to you by the People's Pharmacy. So a lawyer representing residents affected by pollution from Belco has issued a letter to the Minister of Health calling on her to rule excessive emissions from the plant a statutory nuisance. So yesterday, Mark Pettingill, Director of Chancery Legal Limited, filed a formal complaint about the emissions on behalf of several clients who have been living with soot fallouts and chemicals in the air, including sulfur dioxide. According to the Gazette, Mr. Pettingill asked the minister to inform him of her intended action within 7 days and said an application for a judicial review would be on the table if the minister does not abide by the law. He also said that the nuisances were caused by a low-quality fuel because Belco uses heavy fuel as a primary fuel, and that steps should be taken to make use of cleaner fuels.
Interesting.
Sad.
Also, indeed. Also in the news, a man who snatched a $20 bill from a cashier at the shopping center was yesterday sentenced to 1 year behind bars. So 25-year-old Daquan Burgess of no known address admitted to robbing Charlene Simons when he appeared in the magistrate's court. The court heard that on January 18, he followed the female customer around the store until she handed the money to the employee at checkout. A struggle resulted between Burgess and the cashier, and Burgess eventually left the store with the money, but he was arrested a short time later. So prosecutor Nicole Smith told Magistrate Tyrone Chin that the community needs to be protected from people like Burgess who impose fear of violence upon others. She also highlighted that he has previous convictions for similar offenses. However, Bruce Swanee's lawyer argued 1 year behind bars was too harsh for robbing someone of $20 and suggested a prison sentence of between 2 and 4 months.
And
I
what's the rehabilitation? The help.
Well, that's a good question, Sherry. But I'm a bit, and folks, I'm not making light of the situation. Theft is theft, and making people feel unsafe is making people feel unsafe. But I agree with the lawyer Bruce Swan. I absolutely agree that 1 year for $20. I would have thought that a suspended sentence plus, as Sherry just said, rehabilitation. Who was the judge? Tyron Chin, you said?
Tyron.
I don't know
Yes.
this, but that sentence seems extremely harsh. And I think this goes to so many things in our community. This person probably needs help and a job, not
Very
a
much so.
prison sentence for stealing $20. And let me be clear and say this very directly. I am not, I think theft is one of the worst crimes. I think taking from people what you have not earned, it's wrong. Let me say that clearly. But I think we really need to take a look at that sentence and ask ourselves, is this going to be helpful for the long term? Is it fair? And the like.
Is it going to be helpful? Is the key question.
Indeed. Go ahead. Tamara,
True.
sorry.
All right. On a brighter note, you mentioned International Day, and Katrina O'Connor Painter was named International Woman of the Year at an event celebrating the day. So the managing director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Bermuda, she was recognized for her tireless involvement in the community, both through the work she does for the mentoring charity as well as numerous other charities and organizations. Mrs. O'Connor Painter, who was also a radio host for Power 95 FM for close to 15 years, she also volunteers, mentors, coaches, and speaks at events. And she said that she was honored and humbled to have received the award.
Yeah, I can't say
So
enough.
excited.
I said at the beginning of the show, life's not about doing it for awards or anything. But if there was a more deserving person, and Sherry, I know you got me on this. I don't know a more deserving person. Patrina, like late last year in October, you know her as the bubbly, fun personality. But if you saw that episode that I did with on Jamal Hartman Unscripted, she was vulnerable. She was vulnerable. You really got to see and understand and know who she was. And I tell you what, they couldn't have chose a better person, a more deserving person, and she deserves all the plaudits that she's getting. So congratulations,
Yeah.
Katrina.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Awesome.
very well deserving.
Congrats. All right. So in some other regional news here in Jamaica, there has been protest over the past few days, actually since Monday, by teachers who are not pleased with the government's wage offer, with more strike action expected to take place today. So I actually drove past one of the protests yesterday. So delegates of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, yesterday, they again rejected the government's compensation package at a special conference. And according to the JTA, 578 delegates voted, with 346 voting to reject the offer, 227 voting to accept, while 1 ballot was rejected and 4 spoiled. A resolution has been passed for the withdrawal of services, which could lead, unfortunately, to the shutdown of schools island-wide.
I just love what they speak, and we want more money if we spend, right? I love the patois in it,
Yes.
but truthfully, the crazy thing about this, a problem like that, it's universal. In the United States, teachers are always fighting. I just don't understand. Honestly, truthfully, folks, I always say I don't criticize police and teachers. I think those are two of the hardest jobs. But I always find it interesting, in the US at least, right? How police never have to march or fight for better pay or treatment. But educators, who are some of the most important, if not the most important, they're raising the next generation. The next generation takes care of us when we get older. How are they so disrespected globally? I will never understand.
True. And it's interesting because even though you in the US, you may say what they're getting is low, but here in Jamaica, a lot of the teachers actually are migrating to the US just to show how bad it is to them here in terms of the compensation.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
All right, finally, tourists flocked to the Caribbean last year in numbers not seen since the pandemic began, with the Dutch Caribbean and U.S. territories like Puerto Rico surpassing even pre-pandemic visitor arrivals, officials said Tuesday. So more than 28 million people visited the region in 2022, a more than 50% jump compared with the previous year, and that's according to the Caribbean Tourism Organization. Kenneth Bryant, the chairman, they had a press conference this week, and he said that it's clearly apparent that even in the face of the devastating blows by the pandemic, as a region, we have responded with hope and strength. Brian said tourism officials overall expect arrivals to the Caribbean to increase by up to 15% this year. So we will see if that actually unfolds.
Interesting. I guess this is one of the times people say, well, Bermuda's not part of the Caribbean. But anyway, how's the weather looking?
All right, in Bermuda, unfortunately, or fortunate, depends on what you like, another chilly and windy start of the day as blustery showers linger, but there should be a little bit of sunny periods and several brisk showers will continue to be around. You should be having a high of near 18 degrees Celsius, that's about 64 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the day. And here in Jamaica today, partly cloudy across northern parishes, but mainly sunny elsewhere, including in Kingston, Jamaica, where I am.
I love this.
They said Bermuda's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. And even though I love the sunshine, I actually like cold weather. So I think maybe I need to come and visit Bermuda soon, because you guys seem to generally have it's cold.
February and March could be very chilly in Bermuda. I mean, you at least get one day where it's probably colder in Bermuda than some places in New England. So you get those days every year. And then you get Bermudians who are afraid to complain, because then when it gets too hot in the summer, they're like, I don't want to be that person. So I just say enjoy those few days, folks, and wear those Uggs and put those jackets.
Whatever, Jamal.
Sherry, what you got days of the year?
Today is World Kidney Day, and today is about raising awareness about the various kidney diseases that exist and how they can affect one's life. The human body requires a kidney to function properly, and without a healthy one, even the simplest of tasks become a dire task. Hundreds of events are held around the world to raise awareness about kidney health and how people can live a long, disease-free life.
All right, kidney health, folks. Tamara, thank you so much. You have a great the rest of your day.
Bye, you too.
All right,
Bye.
Tamara, do not go anywhere. If you've appreciated the discussion this morning, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Don't go anywhere. We have Ajai Peets coming up. We're discussing her latest opinion piece. Folks, you don't want to miss this. This is going to be good. Trust me. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Sherry Vanderpool, I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, make sure you subscribe to our website and follow us on social media to stay up to date. with all that we have going on, help us grow beyond these mics as we do our part to improve the community. Again, if you've appreciated the discussion this morning, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We've got a great person coming on, a person I admire and adore, and for her courage, a group of them with Bermuda Youth Connect, that are doing a thing and highlighting how people, not just in their age group, but Bermudians in general, are feeling. So without further ado, let's give a really warm TDH welcome to Ajay Peets. Morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for that entrance. I feel so honored to be here. I admire the show as well, and I just think that the work you do to keep Bermuda's people informed is truly admirable.
But thank you. And honestly, ditto. I say that because, as I said before you came on, the group of you young ladies, it takes courage to do what you're doing. It takes courage, and it takes a courage that, if I'm being very honest, it may cost you opportunities in life. It may cost you a lot, but I'm grateful that people like you exist.
Thank you. And this is a conversation that I have with my family all the time because, they love and support me and they want to be there for me. But at the end of the day, that this is just something that I've accepted, that this is my path and my purpose. I'm very community oriented, and this is my future. I love Bermuda and I want to spend the rest of my life there. And I want to do my best to try and change the narrative of Bermuda's landscape.
Indeed, and you're on a path. You're on a path to do that, because there were a lot of people when Larry Marshall Jr. and Lamont, myself, a bunch of us were fighting to end conscription, and I mean the negativity. Oh, it's never going to end, this and that, and it told me a lot about Bermudians. We don't know how to fight. We don't fight. We shout, we talk, but we have no idea how to achieve things. And when conscription was brought to an end, it made we lost a lot. We're still losing. There's still a big legal bill. There's a lot of things that people don't know. But at the end of the day, we had sacrificed our careers, opportunities that we had to make it happen. And so I hope people really understand that it's not just about being a loud voice. It's about being effective. Right. So let's just get started. So for those who may not know, just tell the audience a bit about your background and what it is that you do.
So I'm one of the co-founders of Bermuda Youth Connect. We formed about 3 years ago during the snap election in 2020. Just during that time, there was just a season of just uncertainty and direction of where we thought we were going to go as a country, especially for Bermuda's young people. It just kind of was a question of like, how do I vote? Like we just didn't really understand civic engagement, which is why we created Youth Connect, to kind of be an integrative platform to keep Bermuda's young people, or all people in general, just engaged as to what's going on. And we are working to close the gap between Bermuda as a people and our leaders. Yeah.
And it's a necessary gap. For me, activism's almost like entrepreneurship. It's about fulfilling a need, and there was a need for what you all are doing. You recently wrote an excellent, I believe is an excellent letter in the Royal Gazette titled "Unfamous Opinion," which seemed to challenge not only MP Chris Famous, but the PLP government. Just explain what inspired you to write that letter the way you did last week.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because my intention wasn't just to call out Chris Famous, but just the government as a whole, our political leaders as a whole, because I believe that it's applicable to every individual who is representing us as a community. And specifically to the aspect of Chris Famous, I'm actually a resident of constituency 11, which is his constituency, and I voted for him in the last election. And I just feel like with that fact in itself, I believe it's my inherent right as him being my representative for me to kind of, if I'm not agreeing with something, or if I'm not really agreeing with like the longevity of where things are heading for Bermuda, he's the person who I'm supposed to be going to. And it's my inherent right to hold him accountable, which I did. And for a really long time, I follow him very closely. He is somebody that I admire. He is a hard worker. I'm not trying to negate that at all, but just how he has been presenting himself in the public eye, especially within his opinion pieces, because, that is one way that he is engaged. I just didn't really agree with the direction in which he was going in terms of having the civic engagement, because I just didn't see it being productive. It wasn't really in the best interest of Bermuda as a people. It really just was tit for tat, protecting the PLP, which isn't his job. His job is to represent the people, no matter what aisle or side you are on.
And you're absolutely correct. You're elected as a PLP MP, but your job is not to represent the PLP in terms of those who vote for you. Your job, once you're elected, is to govern and represent everyone. So thank you for that. What has the feedback been like since that article? Because, for instance, has anyone in the PLP reached out to you to say, Jay, we heard your, we read your piece, we take your concerns seriously? Has there been public feedback that, oh, we appreciate it, or any disagreement from people generally in the public? What's been the feedback?
Well, firstly, I wasn't really initially expecting how much support I've gotten, or like how much conversation it caused. I just wanted to just put that out there. And honestly, it's just been so overwhelmingly positive as well. I haven't heard from Chris Famous, but I have heard from one PLP representative, and everybody else, no engagement whatsoever. But one thing that I did notice, a few comments here and there, was the question of my age and my youth. And I just want to say that isn't a valid argument for my intellect or my competency, because as a voting member within our community, I have a right to share my opinions just like anybody else. And I just think that we need to really dismantle this stigma surrounding Bermuda's young people, because it's just going to continue to aid this narrative that Bermuda's young people are not attuned or engaged within what's going on in our country. And just a question of like, oh, if Ajay continues this track, she's going to steer away from Bermuda's young people and they're not going to support her. But I honestly think that's a complete opposite, because from all the conversations I've had with my peers, we're all on the same page. We're scared. We're frightened of the future that we're going to have to carry on, because all the damage that's being done is going to be on our backs.
Mm-hmm. I just want to follow up on that, Ajay. I think it's quite interesting when they try to use the scaremongering tactics that, people are going to lose interest and they're not going to support you. And let me just address this first. Many supporters of the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party used to complain that former Deputy Premier and Finance Minister Bob Richards was arrogant, and he was dismissive, right? And he would say things like, oh, you just don't understand. And I think those same arguments are used against people who disagree with the PLP by the PLP. Oh, they just don't understand how politics works. Folks, maybe they understand how politics should work. Maybe that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And thank you, Ajay. And I love everything that you've had to say thus far. And in the article, you mentioned being sick and tired, and sick and
Yes.
tired, and sick and tired, especially about how the education system, the economics, and so forth are being run by the current government. Can you explain further specifics that made you feel this way? And what do you believe the government should do to change how people are feeling?
I really just think it comes down to the attitude that our leaders kind of hold. Because whenever we have the opportunity to even engage directly with them, which isn't as often as it should, they don't give us direct answers, just like how Jamel had mentioned before I came on. They beat around the bush. There is no transparency, and it's just a continual broken promises every single year, and then every year we get a new throne speech of new things that probably won't come into fruition. And I just think, honestly, I just feel like Bermuda's people just aren't in a place where we trust our government. We don't feel secure in our government. And these feelings are valid because I feel them too.
Mm.
Yeah. And the key words, of course, transparency, trust, and secure. We don't feel any of that.
Yeah.
At the end of the letter, you encourage politicians to listen to the electorate, to take up their concerns in the House. What are your expectations for politicians, especially as it seems they operate with no consequences for their actions?
Right. I'm not sure if this is an unpopular opinion, but this is something that I've observed for a really long time, especially, being with my dad and just kind of just seeing how things operate, is that I really feel like the whole traditional knocking on people's doors, going door to door canvassing isn't an effective way, nor is it the way to kind of go about connecting with us as a group, because really it only happens one time of the year, and I mean one time of the cycle, which is around the election times when they really start coming around. But we need to really have more direct conversations and open conversations, and more opportunities where we can engage with our leaders directly to really share how we are feeling as a community needs to be given to us. That opportunity should happen on a regular basis.
Absolutely. They should be knocking on the door once a weekend, once a month, or
Exactly.
so forth. What do you hope people take away from your perspectives, and how impactful do you believe such opinion can be for Bermudians?
That's really interesting because I feel like the main takeaway is that I really want to encourage Bermuda as a whole to get more engaged in civic discourse, because I really feel like the culture right now, in terms of how commentary is presented, is really like tit for tat. And I really feel like party politics is kind of steering us away from productive civic discourse. So I feel like once we steer away from that and we have more conversations that's productive, is really where we're going to get to the root of our problems and start coming up with more solutions.
Mm.
That's the key word, solutions.
I say this not to fearmonger or throw anything out there, but there's a term they use in the United States when there's someone that's out there fighting, not for the Democrats or the Republicans, but fighting for justice. And that term is, we need to protect them at all costs. And I want you guys, all of you ladies at Bermuda Youth Connect, to know that, me and my position, we will do all we can to protect you at all costs, because what you're doing is something that, if you look back long before you were here in the 70s, the 80s and 90s, when you saw the unions marching and people out on the streets making things happen, you don't see that anymore. You don't see that anymore. So now it's shifted to people like yourself. Groups like you, they'll call you fringe groups. They'll call you name and try to diminish and demean you. But you are now, as time has evolved, the groups that are going to be an integral part of bringing about the change that our community needs to see. Traveling Truddy's asking, what are your thoughts on the recent comments by Minister Jason Hayward? Well, I just saw something pop up on my phone as well, basically from the Royal Gazette, saying that he's now claiming he was being, what was it? Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. He's claiming, Jason Hayward, that he is being victimized or something like that, or something, trying to be a victim of character assassination. He's a victim of character assassination. But do you have any thoughts on what has recently been said by him in terms of, the short part about he doesn't need your vote or want your vote? I mean, he didn't need
I
a vote
feel like One thing that I would encourage everybody to do is really listen to the full context of what had transpired in the House of Assembly outside of that few seconds. Because when I had listened to the first few seconds, I was shocked. I was like, how could you have such a bold attitude and statement to say that? Like I really was shocked. And once I understood the wider context of what he was saying, I did understand him, but I think it could have been constructed a lot better.
Well, it's interesting she said that, because what have I been saying all week, folks? We're not going to share that clip because of context. And it wasn't in defense of Jason Hayward, but again, this is why I love these young ladies, because we have to, if we want to be trusted, we have to be fair.
Yeah.
If you want to be trusted, you have to be fair. And for me, when I actually read a bit more and I listened beyond that clip, because again, I said I'm not going to be childish like the PLP and take a clip from this show and just show, without context, share it with people. I want to be a better person, so I want the whole story. Well, what do you mean? And as I stated, Sancha disagreed with me yesterday, right? But as I stated, is I actually understood where he was coming from, right? But again, context is important, as Teray says as well. And she agrees. She says, Teray Toll says, it's clear Minister Hayward was talking about racism, but never explicitly mentioned it. They dance around the topic and it's unstrategic, easily washed out and misconstrued. We've got a few questions. We'll go through a few more. Karen Simmons asking, where do you think the civil discourse conversations take place?
I think predominantly it takes place in private. I think that as much as we don't really see it in the public eye, like on the Royal Gazette or on other platforms, but it really does happen in private more than none that you think, because I have more than probably a few times, almost every other time actually, most of the conversations I have with my peers are in regards to current events, in regards to social problems, in regards to political issues. So I really think that we are having these conversations, but we need to put them out there in the forefront, because right now it looks like only a few individuals are having these conversations, when in reality we all are, because what's going on is affecting us all as a community, and we all have concerns, which is why we need to put it at the forefront and, shed light on many of these issues.
And Teray Toll says something very interesting, going back to what we were discussing earlier. She said, also, Ajay, that criticism that you received was from an older woman. Older Bermudian women need to check their internalized patriarchy. When young men say anything that makes 0.5% of sense, they are heralded. So let's speak about that. Do you feel, and that's so sad, because again, as I said, compliant Black people, compliant older women do play a role against our own interests at times, right? Speak to us about that, because this is something we have to face.
I really do. And I think that this is just something, unfortunately, ingrained in our culture. And I really think it also stems from the roots of our political history. I've had many conversations with my grandparents and other members within our community who are senior to me, and about the history of how things were started with different political parties like the PLP, and they were living in different times. So I understand that. But in order for us to be truly progressive, truly see change and advance as a country, we need to step away from those contexts and really uplift our young people, because I feel too more often that our young people are villainized. And I feel like when you label a group of people like that so negatively and so harshly, it will only perpetuate those behaviors to occur.
What I find most concerning and most interesting about what you're doing, what Bermuda Youth Connect's doing. Audience, tell me if I'm wrong with saying this. What you're doing today is what the PLP was built on. What you're doing today, those people in the PLP now that champion the forefathers who came before them, they did what you're doing. So to kind of dismiss you, to treat you as if you're less than, tells you what they actually think of the forefathers of the political party that they represent. So I say that to say it says more about them than it does any of you. And I'm going to challenge publicly Teray. She says, Jamel, how many comments do I have to post before I get some screen time? Teray, you can come on this show just like Ajay. Do not be a stranger. You know I got love for you, young sisters. So this space is open. You don't have to be in the comments. Come on down. Look, this space is for you all. So Ajay, before you go, just let people know how they can connect with you all, how they can help you all, and how, just to achieve what you believe we need to achieve as a country.
As much as we, as a group, as Bermuda Youth Connect, have faced adversity, we also feel strong and connected to our community. And we get so much love and support. And we're just so thankful and grateful for the support. But how you can support us is engage in these conversations. Quite often we have lives and we facilitate conversations. Be a part of that conversation. I know everybody has something to share. If you don't share it, then I feel like there's going to be no support for that cause, because I feel like we all have the same feelings, but we're not going to know that our feelings are valid until we hear that other people feel the same way, and that strengthens it. So we need to uplift one another, uplift our young people, and I really think that's the way to go.
Indeed, Ajay. Thank you so much for this conversation. I'll be reaching out to you later on today. We're going to do some stuff. This is going to be more often. And when I say we're going to do some stuff, folks, you have my word. Sherry and I are currently in Las Vegas. We are attending a conference, and we have learned a lot over the last couple of years. And I tell you what, Bermuda Youth Connect will be doing some stuff. And I can promise you that. That's my word publicly. All right, Ajay? Have a wonderful
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.
All right. Folks, if you appreciated that conversation with Ajay, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. It takes courage. I mean, look, I'm going to say it. Larry Marshall Jr. and myself, and it's a lot we don't say publicly. A lot we don't say publicly. I know you all think I scream to the top of my lungs, but we know what it's like. We know what it's like. Trust me. What you're seeing right there is a bubbly young lady with courage who is speaking her conscience. But I guarantee there's times behind the scenes when there are tears and heartbreak, and times when you feel like no one cares or no one's listening. These young people need community. We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere, because we have a fun daily play before coming back. To wrap it up, give our final thoughts. Stick with us, folks. What, Sherry?
Good.
Okay, time for break.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system, providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right. Thanks again to Ajay Peets and all of the people at Bermuda Youth Connect for doing the courageous work that needs to be done for our island, our country, our Bermuda. Thanks again to One Communications, Lindo's Medical House, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to have these kind of conversations in our community in hopes of, pretty much making sure we're improving it one conversation at a time. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sherry, are you ready?
What's today? Thursday. So what's the question, Jamal?
It's a name that place, Sherry.
Oh Lord.
All right,
Okay.
here we go, folks. Help her out. It's a difficult one because it's a lot of answers to this one question. It's a name that place, or places. The state of Nevada is bordered by what U.S. states? We're in Nevada right now, Las Vegas. Yeah. The
Right.
state of Nevada is bordered by what U.S. states?
To California.
That's one.
Arizona, not Arizona, Phoenix.
Phoenix is not the state. I'll give you Arizona. California.
Arizona.
Yep.
I need some more.
Yep. Arizona, California. Yep. Utah's one. Yep. Oh, wow. There we go. We got them all.
Okay.
So it's Utah, Arizona, California, Oregon, and Idaho.
I was getting there. I needed more time.
Yeah,
I'm still
so-
trying to picture.
The state of Nevada is bordered by the U.S. states of Oregon and Idaho in the north, Utah and Arizona in the east, and California in the west, as well as California and Arizona to the south.
I needed more time for all of those answers, Jamal. So I mean, I got that.
Okay, you got it. Yeah, we'll give it to you, Sherry. We'll give you got 2 of 5.
Thank you.
2 of 5, 40%. That's the passing grade these days.
Happy for you.
Teresa says, what does she get? She got him. You get to appear on the show, but you gotta let me know when you're coming. Final thoughts on today's show, though, Sherry. The government doing what they do as they please, and then obviously the conversation with Ajay.
Well, they seem to tie in with one another, but at the same time differently. What ties in is the transparency, trust, and being feeling secure with our government. They weren't transparent about what they were going to do. We can't trust that they are doing what's in the best interest of the community and the people. To take down a building that they know had some historical connections to Mary Prince is very disheartening and disappointing, to say the least. And there could have been something done about it. And we just want to be included. In regards to Ajay, to sit here and listen to this young person who, when I think of myself, did not even have an ounce of information, courage, and confidence within herself to even go up against a government is very nice to see, very motivational and inspirational. And I love that she is a youth and she's a young person, and we need to listen. We need to listen, and shame on whoever that older woman was. I hope she was older than 48.
I mean, that's but I get your point. But no, I want to say this. As far as the building being torn down, it's the manner things are being done. It's like clockwork. We tell the people that we're going to listen to, we act as if we're going to listen to them and take their feedback, and then we just still do what we're going to do in a manner that just is so disrespectful. That's problem number one. Number two is, accountability. They do what they do because they know that they're not going to be held accountable. We have, as the electorate, as the people of Bermuda, as the taxpayers, we have to do a better job at holding the government accountable. As far as Ajay, I can't say much more that I haven't said already. I think she's one of a few courageous young Bermudian women who are really taking a lead. And as I stated, they are doing the very work that many in the PLP are cashing in on. That's what they're doing. The exact work in 2023 that was done by the forefathers of the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party. And they need to be protected at all costs. Let's not discourage them because of age, because remember, age don't mean a damn thing. In 2017, we elected a 38-year-old, the youngest premier we've ever had. Age didn't matter to many of you then. So why does it matter now? When people don't share your thoughts or beliefs, we look for ways to tear them down. Oh, they're too young. They don't have experience. Maybe it's you who's too ignorant. Sherry, you've got some daily inspiration for us?
I sure do. You can only see one thing clearly, and that is your goal. Form a mental vision of that and cling to it through thick and thin. And that's from Kathleen Norris, American novelist and newspaper columnist.
Thanks so much for that, Sherry. Folks, make sure you subscribe to our website, follow us on social media to stay up to date for all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to improve the community. Thanks again to Medical House, One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. So there's no show on Friday tomorrow. On Monday, she's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hart with my friends. Make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.